Hey guys, this is Eddie with Player 2 Gaming. Today with my good friend Jordan.
Hey guys, what's going
on? And we're here to talk about the Bethesda announcement that they're going to be having a press conference at E3. Jordan is basically like the Bethesda super fan, so he's going to be able to give a lot of insight on this. And we know we're kind of late on this. This was announced on February 10th, and today is March 23rd.
Finals.
But yeah, finals. So whatever, we're getting it done. Anyways, before we get into the big elephant in the room and, the big game, we're going to talk about maybe some of the logistics of it and what other games will be shown. So you have some of the info.
Right, yeah. So apparently what's going on, as we know, they're having their own hour-long, I think, press conference.
Yeah, something like that.
During the E3 kind of season, I guess. It's not actually during the main conference itself. I think most of the conferences are actually on the Monday, if I remember right.
Yeah, well, they usually do the press conferences before E3, like they do it the day before.
Yeah. This one is 2 days before. This is on Sunday, June the 14th.
Okay.
And so they're streaming it on Twitch, which is pretty cool, so everyone can watch it. But actually, they're letting a lot of the public come to watch it. A limited number of people,
That's
of course,
cool.
But as you know, I guess that's cool because a lot of times it's pretty closed off.
Well, it's usually just press, yeah.
Right.
So apparently, then this is more like Nintendo Direct-ish than E3 because they're allowing more accessibility. But anyways, before again we get to the big game, what else do we think is gonna be there? I mean, obviously, I think they're gonna be showing Dishonored 2 from Arcane. Like, I've heard it's been in development. Like, it's all been speculation.
Oh, I think it's for sure. It has to have been by now. So a lot of us have been looking forward to an announcement on that. That was kind of a surprise hit, actually.
Yeah.
It won Game of the Year from a lot of people.
It did, and it was nominated by the big ones. That was my Game of the Year for 2012, because I thought 2012 was kind of a crappy season, but I thought that was like kind of the silver lining in 2012.
Yeah, so I think Bethesda recognizes that was sort of a surprise hit for them, and they're going to want to be, I think a sequel is inevitable.
Yeah, and there's been rumors about it and whatnot, but I think that they're definitely going to come out, and if not with an announcement, they might show off maybe some in-engine. Like, I don't think they're going to have gameplay, but they're probably going to show it in engine. We need to keep in mind, like, a lot of people think Bethesda and they just think, like, Fallout and Elder Scrolls. But, I mean, they're more of a publisher than they are a game developer. They publish a ton of games. I mean, they just did The Evil Within this year, which, like, I heard it was good. It was just, like, I didn't get it. They did The Evil Within,
they had,
Dishonored,
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein from Machine Games, which is the next one I was going to address. When I had heard this announcement, I thought they were going to announce a new Wolfenstein. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you heard about the new expansion.
I did.
The Old Blood?
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that makes me wonder if they're actually going to announce Wolfenstein 2 or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not so sure about that one since the last one was so recent.
Well, it was recent, and
compared to
I feel
Dishonored.
like it'll kill the hype for the Old Blood, because the Old Blood,
I think it will.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like they're going to want to sell copies of that, obviously.
In my experience, a lot of developers don't generally push the sequel until all the DLC.
Yeah, exactly, because they want to push the DLC.
Right.
So I think that's out, but they still have Machine Games as a developer, and they have Arcane as a developer, and I think they have a lot of developers to even push out some new IP.
That's one thing that we were talking about earlier. Is I do think almost definitely that there will be at least one new IP, probably several, if I would be willing to bet on it.
I mean, let's be real. This isn't hour.
It's an hour long.
Yeah, hour-long press conference. That entire press conference is not just going to be Dishonored and Fallout. Like, they're going to be showing other things.
I think it's exciting because we can't really think of everything that's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, that was another thing I thought of, other than the excitement, for what's probably going to be announced, is the excitement that this is going to be the unexpected one. E3's press conference, I know E3 is going to be, not E3, EA's press conference. Like, we're going to be seeing Battlefront, we're going to be seeing, it's going to be, don't get me wrong, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be seeing, like, Battlefront, Mass Effect, Mirror's Edge, things that we know we're going to be seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that Mass Effect sequel is for sure kind of be shown there. You know, I a lot of times I actually don't try to think too much about what we're gonna see because I like to be surprised.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
anyway, so the big one is obviously going to be Fallout. We've been waiting for this for years. There was the big thing.
7 years now.
This last summer with whatever that website where they did the hoax.
Survivor 2299.
Yeah. So, anyways, they're going to announce it. Like, if they don't, it's ridiculous. It's gonna happen. Like that's
yeah.
Let's be real. Like that's gonna happen.
I think originally
it will happen as sure as Activision is gonna announce a Call of Duty. I'll put it that way.
Well, sure. I think you and I were beginning to get a bit frustrated. I know I was especially when all these leads turn out to be false. But because I don't think either of us expected them to announce their own press conference.
No,
I certainly didn't. And now that we know that was probably why they were waiting, I think it's not too bad of a justification.
So this
on their part.
This is the things, like the questions I have. We know that's what's going to be announced. The questions are what's going to be shown and what time frames are going to look like. Yeah. The first thing I was actually thinking about is when during the press conference they're going to show it. I'm wondering if they're going to open with it or if they're going to close. Because I would say they were going to close, save best for last, but then look at the last PlayStation experience. They opened with Uncharted 4.
It's true.
Which I thought was a bad idea because it kind of killed the hype. Like Uncharted 4, and then the viewers went down.
Well, there's a reason why they say save the best for last. It's not just a stupid saying. It really it works because you want to start on a strong note certainly, but you don't want to blow your biggest surprise right at first. That never works out too well.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably, if I had to bet, I'd say that they'd probably end with it.
Yeah. So
because really anything after would just be. It would just pale in comparison.
The other question,
probably.
Most likely.
Right.
The other question is, what do you think they're going to show? Do you think they're just going to have an announcement trailer, or I think it's been in development, and I think we're going to be seeing at least some gameplay. If not an in-engine trailer, probably gameplay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think so too, because really. You think about how long we've been waiting, and I have the feeling that they've been wanting to show stuff for a long time because they haven't had a good chance, so to speak, so far. And really, because I think we're expecting it to come out this year.
Absolutely. I think so. I'm expecting holiday this year because
we've
talked about, I think Bethesda is one of the few publishers in gaming that has the reputation to where they could announce it and release it in such a short window.
Yeah.
Them, maybe like Rockstar.
Right.
And
who else?
Maybe Konami. Not Konami, but Kojima. But
BioWare, even though we might not like all this
exactly.
Stuff, right?
But that's few and far between. But Bethesda's one of those. So I think it's going to be ready for holiday.
Yeah.
If not, maybe like February of 2016.
Right.
Probably holiday.
Well, the last Fallout game was announced, or I should say released in October. And I think, everyone wants it hit for fall and holiday season. That's generally the best time to do it. But I've noticed that, as far as I can tell, they like to be pretty consistent in their holiday releases.
They do, yeah.
Because, Fallout was October 28th, I believe, 2008.
Yeah.
Skyrim was obviously November 11th. I think even New Vegas was in, maybe not that one, but that wasn't technically their project. But I think you're right. And like we were saying, ordinarily you wouldn't think that 5-6 months is enough to build the hype train up.
Yeah.
But in this case, probably.
Well, and the thing is in this case, I was hearing somebody talk about this. I don't know which one. It was some other podcast. And they were talking about that the hype has built itself without them even having to do anything.
Yeah,
it's just the fan base being excited and generating the fake advertisements and stuff.
Yeah, I have to imagine that was a pretty big relief on the behalf of their PR guy, Pete Hines. He's like, oh, look at all the work that's being done for me. I don't have to do
exactly.
Anything.
So the hype's already there. So I think all they need to do is just announce it, and they could release it in holiday. So some of the questions that I'm left with are, for me personally, I'm wondering if they're going to be. We talked about this a little bit ago, but whether or not creation is going to be used Creation Engine, or if they're going to be developing a new engine.
Right.
If anything, I guarantee you Creation is going to be heavily modified for it.
Yeah,
because they're gonna. I think that something New Vegas brought to the Fallout series that actually improved on 3, which I didn't think much in New Vegas improved on 3, but
at least mechanically speaking.
Yeah, but mechanically, the fact that it had like ADS and I think stronger shooting elements, that's something that was really well received by the community, and I think that's something that's even going to be developed more in 4.
Right.
So, and
I agree.
And on top of that, vehicles, stuff like that, which means Creation would need to get modified because it's kind of built around that Skyrim type gameplay.
Yeah. Well, like we talked about, I think really, I was saying that in terms of the legality, I guess, of it is basically like, so for Oblivion, I don't know about Morrowind. I know for sure Oblivion, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas are using the Gamebryo engine, which, as far as I know, is a outsourced engine. They didn't develop it, which means to me that, they have some sort of limited creativity when it comes to that because they can't really alter it in any significant way. Creation being an in-house engine, one that they've built themselves, they essentially have complete free reign to develop it how they want. And I think that was part of the reason why they did it in the first place. So, yeah, like you said, it's going to have to be a heavily modified version of anything, but I think the fact that they do have complete control over it is going to definitely influence them to use it. It's like, why would they make it and then only have it be in one game?
Well, and you look at, take for example Source. The way Valve is able to use Source, and you look at a game like Dota 2, and then you look at a game like Half-Life.
Right.
Those were both off the same engine, but Valve had proprietary rights to it, so they were able to use it however the hell they wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that can happen with Creation. And Creation is a strong engine. We saw it with a lot of the mods that came out for Skyrim.
It was, especially on the PC versions of Skyrim, you look at that game, and for it being something that came out in 2011, it was one of the better looking, at least environmentally, games. I wouldn't say the character designs were super impressive, but that just came with the limitations of the hardware. Thank goodness we don't have that now.
Yeah,
which leads us to another point that we're thinking about, which is whether or not they'll have back platform release. And I sincerely hope that they do not.
Yeah, and I don't think so. I mean, we've been seeing the trends already that they're kind of starting to phase out. 7th gen,
which is good.
Almost completely. It's overdue. At this point in time in 7th gen, we weren't seeing any PS2 games. We weren't seeing any. Hell, we didn't see Xbox games 6 months after the 360's release. And I think at this point, we're only going to be seeing sports games and maybe tie-ins on 7th gen. But I think developers are starting to understand that it's time to move on because it's limiting them. Something that comes with this 8th gen, this trend that we've been seeing, I think, in a lot of different games is online elements, not necessarily multiplayer, but online elements to the game. And I was wondering if you think Fallout is going to bring that. Because I've been wondering if maybe they're going to add like a co-op, like kind of like the way Need for Speed Rivals did it, like with a drop-in, drop-out type of thing, or like Dying Light.
It's almost like a seamless thing where you can kind of be in someone's game and not necessarily know it.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they could be on one side, like, you could be in another person's game and go through your complete session and not know it. Because, that the maps are huge. So they could be on one end and they could, you could be on the other. But it could, I don't know, I think it could be cool, actually. I think it could bring a neat element to the Fallout universe.
I think, certainly if it's done right, they can do it. The one thing that I know about is that I remember in a lot of interviews, tons of interviews, Todd Howard always says, when asked about multiplayer, he'll say, there are no plans at the moment, but if we think of some way that will make sense and will be significant, we will do it. Right. And I think that's good, because that kind of just makes me think of he's not trying to, just slap something on there if it's not going to be great. Which reminds me of like the BioShock 2 multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember
exactly.
They were saying 50 people were playing it at one point. So I don't know. In terms of what it would be, I certainly don't think that it would benefit from a online competitive multiplayer, like a separate mode. I think that would be kind of...
Yeah, no, me either.
I think that'd be silly.
Like lobby. I don't think a lobby would benefit.
And that would, that might gain the attention of all the frag heads, but that's
not Fallout.
That's not Fallout. And I don't think the mechanics are going to cater to that either. But I think anything if it's any sort of multiplayer, will definitely at least be within the game itself, the main game mode, which is the world.
Yeah.
It won't be a separate thing for sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, running into some random or a friend that, like, if it prioritizes, like you say, your PSN friends, that would be kind of cool to run into your friend and, go kill some super.
Just trying to make sure. I just want to. I would like to avoid people like, just killing.
Yeah, griefing. Griefing your map, but if it's done right, I think they could. It doesn't need it, but
no.
I think it could be a cool element. And the thing about Bethesda is, I trust them to know what's going to be best
exactly
for what they're going to do. Because I mean,
they know.
and they appreciate their reputation.
Yeah.
They know that they have. I think that's why we haven't seen anything, because kind of the situation with Naughty Dog at PlayStation Experience, how according to them the Uncharted 4 demo wasn't ready, and
right.
Sony pushed them. I think that same sort of thing with Bethesda, where they don't
have a parent company.
Yeah, they don't have a parent company.
Right, which is great.
But, so they've been waiting until it's ready, and I think it's going to be awesome. So before we end this, one last thing I wanted to bring up that's been talked about a lot, because it's been rumored. Apparently, there's been some leaks and stuff about it. Bethesda remasters. Do you think they'll happen?
No.
I hope not. But a lot of people have been saying, because they actually made some mods, like some of the devs made their own graphics mods for Skyrim, and they're saying that it's been rumored they're going to carry those onto disc and put those out on the 8th gen. I wouldn't play it. I have no need to. But
I wouldn't do it. I would rent it to see
what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the thing is the Bethesda experience is not. It's not based on these big, awe-inspiring wow moments, right?
Yeah.
Bethesda games.
I mean, they've had them.
They've had them. They try. They have them when they're
beneficial to them.
Right. Yeah. But I think in general the Bethesda experience is more it's a subtle thing. It's a slow experience. It's a thoughtful, methodical experience. It's one where you really have to explore, right? And you don't necessarily have to be ADD entertained by explosions every 5 minutes to be having a good time.
Exactly.
And I think in that same vein, what I mean is the whole thing is that it's not bombastic graphics necessarily. I mean, they're nice, but when you get a nice environment view, that's great. But the only people who obsess about Skyrim graphics, it's okay, right? Sure, but that's not what I think is important in the Bethesda games at the end of the day. And so. Yeah. I think they know that, and like what you said about their reputation, I think they know that their fans probably wouldn't care that much.
They wouldn't care, and I mean, at this point, we're coming hot off the heels of the God of War 3 announcement, and at this point, it's remasters are done. There was a few, we could probably talk about that on a separate podcast, but right. I mean, I don't think if it happens, cool. I'm not going to get them, but
no need to.
Neat. But like I said, it's just been rumored. I figured we would touch on it. But overall, Fallout 4 is definitely going to be announced. This is an exciting prospect.
Yeah,
the fact
something that I've personally been waiting for really 5 years at least.
Yeah. And the fact that we're getting an entire press conference for it, the hype is going to pay off.
Yeah,
hopefully. I mean, knock on wood.
Will we see a new Elder Scrolls announcement? Probably not.
I think at most we will get a hint. I think at most, maybe they will you remember how E3, we watched it together, 2011, E3 2011, Microsoft completely walks off stage, is done, and then they put up the Halo 4 announcement trailer. And it could be something like that. Maybe Todd Howard walks off, they're done, they don't even mention that they have one more thing, but then, we see a Valenwood announcement, or Hammerfell.
Something else, right?
I don't know.
I think we don't need to be too spoiled. I think we should be happy enough that
I don't think so. And to be honest with you, I think that the consumer is kind of, I don't want to say tired of Elder Scrolls, but between Skyrim and its massive success, and then Elder Scrolls Online, which kind of it was lukewarm. I didn't play it.
It hasn't come to console yet.
It's coming.
Hopefully the momentum still carries.
Yeah, it's coming to console, and I'm gonna check it out. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna rent it, and if I like it, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But I don't really have time for that game.
Yeah. No,
But anyways, I don't think there's enough. If anything, I think Softworks is going to announce a new IP. I mean, not Softworks. Studios is going to announce a new IP if they're announcing anything else. I think they're kind of they like to take their time with the games they do.
Of course.
So I think they're just going to hammer the hype for Fallout 4.
I think they need
But,
to, especially if they're only giving themselves a 6-month release window. Too.
Exactly, which I still think. I think at most we might see a February release because I've seen. I'm sure you've seen.
It's a decent release window,
and I'm sure you've seen the tendency in 8th gen. Think of how many games have come out in this first quarter.
Good amount.
A lot. Like Witcher Witcher was supposed to come out during this time.
Yeah.
We had Evolve, we had Dying Light, we had Bloodborne, Mortal Kombat. I mean, too. Big games. Yeah, big games coming out this quarter 1 and quarter 2. So it could happen. This might be the holiday season of 8th gen, for all we know.
Right.
But
hard to say.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited. You're excited.
We should be excited.
This is gonna be awesome.
Big day.
But anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Stay tuned for more podcasts about whatever's going to be coming up, because this has been a pretty crazy couple weeks in the news of gaming. So anyways, till next time, I'll catch you guys later.